What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Nio. Absolutely amazing stuff today. I want to break it down on what really caused it to go as high as it did, what the data points are saying, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So today it did go up 11.65%. Absolutely amazing stuff. And not only that, you did see a very good amount of support coming from institutions. So I'll touch on that in a second, but 146.99 million shares being traded, 53.9 is the average. And all of this was based off of this right here. So Nio did provide April 2024 delivery updates. And so they did deliver 15,620 vehicles. That is absolutely insane. And so very impressive stuff. And that kind of goes to signal that there's a massive amount of demand, because when it comes to this, I'll give you a quick overview. I have brought this up in previous videos because it somewhat was questionable, but this is EV stats. So as of February, so this is the latest update that we do have, China sales are down 9%. Europe is up 10%, US is up 11%. But still, the fact that China sales are down, and you also have to factor in a lot of the articles coming out, all signaled that China had a lot of cracks in it and that essentially EVs weren't doing all that great. But this right here single-handedly just gave the middle finger to the market and just said, F you, we are going up. And I have said time and time again, just based on the PS ratio of Nio, it is among the most discounted EVs out there. So a lot of big money is starting to look at Nio as more of a long-term investment, and the technicals are looking very much primed and ready. So even when I did bring up, I think it was yesterday as well as my last video, so almost like a week ago, the technicals are looking very good. So the Elliott wave technicals does have a pivot point of $4.05. And so as long as Nio is above that, then this is where it is anticipated to get to this 533 to 560 in the short term. So basically went to that in a very, very short time period. So I think the technicals are looking very optimistic. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings, but based on today's news, I do anticipate couple analysts to really up their rating. So you might see as of tomorrow, maybe a 5, 6, 7, or possibly even more price target. So just stay tuned for that. So that could be coming out. And again, that could also give justification for tomorrow for it to kind of go based on that analyst rating. So that even in turn would push Nio a little bit higher. So I think all in all, Nio is very, very good, in a very good position. And even enough that shorts did return about 511,000 shares. 13.8% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 188.15 million shares overall are being shorted. And then cost of borrow average is 1.52%. So obviously, I've pointed out the fact that Nio is somewhat heavily shorted, not to the point where I'm kind of bold enough to say that it's a squeeze play, because a lot of the metrics isn't really there, such as utilization only 85.3, but still they have really gotten in. So I do feel that they'll probably return some shares, get back to where they were previously around the 12% range. So that does work out to be probably another about 3-4 million shares to be returned, at least in the short term. So that might happen over the next couple trading days. And through Interactive Broker short availability does indicate around 800,000 shares is available to be shorted. So again, something to kind of keep in mind. So there's not overly that much ammunition, if that kind of makes sense, but still something to be aware of. When it comes down to options, an immense amount of money was getting into Nio. So $12 million in calls, 4.94 million in puts, and sentiment wise, 50% of all the options being done today are optimistic, and there's a lot oriented towards, as you can kind of see right down here, the top chains, roughly 555, so a lot of calls based on that. So people are very optimistic, and that is for this upcoming Friday. So again, a lot of opportunity for it to go up. And of the call options that are being purchased, you do see consensus for, obviously, like I said, based on the hot chain, for it to be above 550. And then looking at puts, you do see an anticipation for it to be sub 5. So still, as I've been saying, the risk versus reward is very much in favor of upside. And for those of you that know about gamma squeezes, if Nio is able to close above $5 by the end of this Friday, then this is where you'll see all of this right here getting exercised. So market makers will go to the open market to physically buy those shares, which in turn on Monday will add a nice little bump up in the stock price. So that's kind of good. These are some of the transactions that did occur today above $100,000. So 1.32 million, and then quite a lot of individual transactions. So like I said, it was getting a lot of attention from institutions today. So 1.13 million, and this in comparison to the last couple of days is night and day. So a very big difference. But right now with it closing at $5.27, it is trading between this R2 and this R3. So even in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks and other EV plays, Nio is top tier stuff. So a lot of other EVs are kind of within this range. So S1 to the pivot, or in some cases that are doing fairly well, pivot to the R1, but Nio is, like I said, next level stuff. So going into tomorrow, just watch for this 5.10 to really hold, then vice versa, the next target to be $5.55. And like I did signal, based on the call options that are being purchased, it is anticipated for it to be above 550. So of course for this R3 to be broken. So I think bigger and better things are going to be coming down the pipeline for Nio. We'll just have to wait and see, but you do see it is above that 50-day moving average. So once again, it just might be range bound between this point in the foreseeable future, assuming tomorrow it does and is able to hold this $5 range. But higher percentile of the Bollinger Band, you do see stochastic at 87, a very bullish deviation, so white line above the red. But keep in mind, with it being considered somewhat overbought, first sign of weakness, you will see a pullback similar to what has happened in the past. So just be aware of that. But I think in reality, based on today's news, it's flexing. And it kind of shows that the market has been overlooking Nio for a while. And I think right now, given the market and what Powell recently said, institutions are looking for value, and Nio is probably one of the best value plays out there. My own opinion, of course, but number of retail investors have been getting in over this last little bit ever since the 2nd, and I have brought that up in previous videos. So I'm pretty excited about Nio. I'm glad that I did buy in. So I did buy in at that 436. Aside from that, I do have my original position through Interactive Brokers at around 650. So hopefully it does continue to get there, but I'm pretty happy with Nio bigger picture. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with Nio? One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the 𝗪𝗧𝗛. So pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.